Hello, everybody. Guess what we are reviewing today? First of all, welcome back to my channel, Reality TV Africa. And we are going in on Real Houses of Nairobi, Season 2, Reunion Part 1. Okay, guys, I could not wait for this episode to drop. Showmax, why did you guys drop the episode so late? 5 a.m. gang were ready. I am not part of the 5 a.m. gang. I'm on the 6 p.m. shift, but it was uploaded much later in the day. I want to say around 2 p.m. Your guess is as good as mine as to why, but fans were wondering what's up. But okay, finally we got the episode. So let's get into it. Let me first of all start by giving a rating. Oh my god, this episode was so good, guys. So good that I think I'm gonna give it a 9. I mean, it had so much happening, so much being revealed, so much drama, so much everything they give, guys. Let's talk about the set. The set, honestly, it was a much needed improvement from last season, and I guess as we go along, we're going to get to the levels of Durban, because Durban outdid themselves on season 3 and now the last season 4 reunion. So we're hoping to see it get to that elevated level, international level. But I'll say it looked good. It was better than the last one. The last one looked like a budget kind of, situation going on there. But anyway, let's talk about the outfits, guys. I have my ratings in on my best to not so best dressed. Let me start with my list. Vera, she said her theme was, and I'm gonna refer to my notes, her theme was Queen. Listen, first of all, that whole thing going on here, she was like constricted, she was moving like a robot, she was giving robotic movements. Girl, that was not a good look. It looked so uncomfortable. You look constricted. It looked a lot was going on, and quite frankly, I'll say Vera for me is not the most fashionable, but I guess she's the biggest personality in terms of following. She has over 2 million followers on her Instagram. She's a big deal. She's worked hard for whatever she's gotten in terms of following and synonymousness. But the outfit, nope. My next person, I didn't feel Minne's dress, but I loved the hair, the wig, the Storm. She's giving Storm from X-Men. I loved that hair. The ice, her theme was ice. She was going for Frozen. She said Frozen. It was okay. Not my most favorite. I mean, it was okay. It looked good. She looked good, and she was at that point. She was she had already given birth. She still had a little pooch, but she looked like she was snapping back quite well. And she looked good. The next person after that is Zena. Zena's was okay. It was right there in the middle. I like the big rose on her shoulder. At least she looked comfortable in it. She was able to, give what she was supposed to give in terms of drama in the dress. And she said her theme was beauty, it just seemed basic. I mean, we know Zena is a gorgeous, she's stunning, and that's pretty much what she'll always give whatever she wears. Honestly, she gives those vibes of Giselle, who knows her face card will never decline, so she doesn't have to work so hard with her fashions. You feel me? She's not the most fashionable, honestly. And then after Zena, my next one is Farah. Farah's theme was roses and thorns. I mean, okay, I guess. Farah for me throughout the season was the most fashionable. In the scenes, in her, her outfits. Even on her Instagram, she's been showcasing her looks. But in this particular ensemble on the reunion set, she was number 2 for me. Number 1. And it's not because I love Dr. C, it's because I love the simplicity of Dr. C's dress. And her theme was old money, and it gave just that. I mean, I like the simpler the better. I mean, I'm that kind of I am a fashion person. gonna plug my personal page, but maybe eventually one day. But if you go there, you'll see, you know, that my fashion sense, and I'm a fashion girl. So, and my fashion sense is more about simplicity and not overdoing things. Maybe if I overdo one thing, I play down with the other, you know. So yeah, Dr. C's for me was right up my alley. Let me comment on the host's outfit. I mean, a tuxedo, right look for the whole thing. The only thing I didn't like was his socks. I don't know. I didn't like the color of his socks. I don't know what color of socks would have. Maybe black. I don't know, that blue that was peeping from the bottom of his between the pants and the shoe. I didn't like that. But I mean, he looked presentable. And I have to say, Farid tried his best to steer this ship as best as he could, because Zena was here, over talking, top of her voice, not letting anyone finish a sentence, couldn't get a word in edgewise. But anyway, let's get into it. Yeah, Zena and Dr. C got first chair. Getting first chair is a big deal. It means you guys were the ones that brought the most to the show, the franchise, that season, and it was only right that they both got the first chair. That's the chair right next to the host, because they had the biggest conflict among the cast. Yeah, so that's that. Then they get to get into the groove of things, and they talk about Vera always going to Nigeria. I mean, guys, I don't know if you guys have heard the rumors, because there's a time I think she was spotted. It was actually right after the last season ended. What was it? Yeah, around then. She was spotted in Nigeria. She was spotted with Burna Boy. Now, I don't know if this is a sad boyfriend. She's trying to say it's confidential. But if it is, good for you, girl. That's a big deal. But last I heard, I don't know if he's really seeing anyone. I mean, yeah. So that's who Vera is rumored to be seeing. I don't know if it's true or not, but yeah, she's ever jet setting around the world and also to Nigeria. Yes, then then Farid was asking very interesting tweets. You know, the tweets. He was reading question tweets. And one of the questions that was asked was about the first scene when Vera showed up at the airport and the paparazzi were there. Listen, guys, I said this in my episode review for that particular episode, and I said that seemed so staged, honestly, because the only people who are received that way are either politicians, an international recording artist who's come to perform in the country, or our athletes, who are like celebrated for their athleticism. Vera Sidika, me begs to differ. So her saying that someone must have spotted her in New York boarding a flight and they called the paparazzi, girl. Anyway, we all know that's just a we all know that's just nonsense. Let me not use curse words, lest I want my page to eventually get monetized. So I'ma leave it at that. Okay? Yeah, then of course Farid Kimani, he's a radio personality, MC. He has a lot under his belt as a person. He was the right man for the job. He proceeds to ask Minne, about motherhood and her new baby, her son. And we get to find out his name is Charlemagne. I don't know if you guys know about Charlemagne the God on the Hot 96 Breakfast in New York. Big show, radio show. I subscribe to that channel. And yeah, so that's the name they given him. That's where I heard that name first. And Minne says the reason Charles, her husband, gave that name is because it means Charles the Great. Okay, cool. I like that touch. I like that explanation. Good for her. Yes, and then I think I tried to tweet. Oh, a tweet was read about, Minne's body shaming, age shaming, and how she's now become such a mean girl, and they're realizing that now this season. And Minne decided to quickly, own up to it, apologize to Farah and Dr. C for her statements. And we see that Farah was just not going to let her slide. Farah was going to explain and be heard. Farah came with certain talking points that she was going to address, and I believe this was one of them. And she got her word in, and all Minne could muster up was, yes, I'm sorry, I am sorry. Farah was like, you really, affected the bodybuilding community, and it wasn't a good look. It was, it wasn't a nice thing to say. Farah articulated herself quite well, I must say, even throughout the other conversations, and we'll get to those. And Minne was just offering up an apology, and Zena was like, the only reason she's apologizing is because she's getting so much backlash from the fans. And I tend to agree. I mean, one thing Zena came to do is stay on Minne's neck, and stay on Minne's neck she did. And we'll talk about all of that, but this was just a beginning, okay? Yeah. So the host asks Minne what he thinks of Farah, and if Farah is suited to be a housewife. And Minne is like, absolutely, Farah is the perfect on this cast. She gives housewives vibes. I mean, at this point, Minne has already apologized, so she's obviously, on good footing with Farah. But she also mentions that, look, Farah, I love to say you do like to ride the fence, and Dr. C said the same thing, and we did see her kind of sit on the fence on certain issues. But Farah is kind of that person who's the voice of reason, the middle ground. She doesn't want to ruffle feathers. I'll say this. Farah has gotten a lot of flack, even on Twitter during the show, that she's boring. But I'll say this in her defense. We need a Farah. You can't always have a Zena, a Dr. C, a Minne. You need someone to kind of mellow things out, and that's what you get from Farah and Vera mostly, unless she's activated, which is, we've not seen that happen this whole season, actually, only last season. But I mean, she also brings she elevates the show in the sense that she gives it that international feel, because of her Canadian view on things, and the way she presents herself, the way she articulates herself. I mean, if someone from another country was watching the show, they'd be like, oh, at least we have someone I can relate to. I think it's that relatability on the international aspect. And at the same time, she's showing that she's almost like a token, multicultural quota, to fill that quota, because we do have a huge affluent Indian community in Kenya, and it's only right that we have an affluent Indian on the show, on the cast. Last season we had Sonal, but we saw Sonal leave at the top of the season, and now we have Farah, and I think Farah is well suited. Maybe we'll see her peel back the layers and give us a bit more next season. Give us a different version of Farah. I'm imagining and I'm hoping we get like a switcheroo like we did on Sorisha, on Durban. But I think she's okay for the show, if you ask me, in terms of balancing out the ensemble cast and the characters and the personalities, because it can't always be go, go, go. You need to have someone who can bring you down, and like she did with Zena, like she did with... Did she do it with anyone else? Mostly Zena, because they had a form of like a bond. Dr. C also said, she likes Farah, and they can relate. They move around the same social settings, and they could have had more meaningful conversations than they did on the show. And I guess they're closer in age than the rest, so they can kind of, they're peers in that sense. So maybe their friendship will, continue to blossom, because we saw it have a bit of a shakiness at the top of the season, but they got back on track, and I'm guessing they're still back on track. judging from, the commentary that Dr. C gave of her. Did you guys catch Zena bigging up Dr. C and talking about how she appreciates how real Dr. C came through in terms of dealings with Zena, rather than, I guess in this sense, she was talking about Minne's backhandedness, where Minne to her face was being nice and friendly and whatnot, but behind her back on confessionals with Vera, she's talking about how she's not friends with Zena. So I'm guessing that's what Zena was alluding to. She said, "You look, as much as Dr. C was, very, the way she was to me, which was very, I'm paraphrasing here, very mean and horrible to the end, I appreciate that because that's who she is. Like, she came as who she is. She's real in that sense. Unlike," she didn't say unlike, but I guess that's what she was alluding to. And so we see, obviously, also Zena was really, really laughing at Dr. C's jokes. I mean, when they were talking about Vera's divorce party and how everyone is ever late, and Dr. C is talking about how she made a call to Vera, and she's like, "Where are you people? You said 7:30." And I guess Vera tells her, "Did you come that early to sweep the club?" And you could see Zena is laughing out loud, like dying of hilarity. And you could see even the laughter is genuine, and she genuinely finds Dr. C hilarious. Dr. C is a very funny human. She's very funny. Even the commentaries on her confessionals, talking about throwing someone in a river and water, and she's just a funny person. But yeah, you could see Zena was appreciating that humor and was also bigging her up. So I'm like, could there be hope for these two in the future? I'm not saying they could be friends, like bosom buddies, but maybe cordial around the group, and just find a way to coexist without getting handsy and froggy, But yeah, I could see that. But maybe I'm speaking too soon because this is just part 1. I don't know what happens in part 2. We'll definitely talk about that next week. But for now, I'm holding out hope for the fact that these two could form a friendship. Yeah, I think the host mentioned, he talked about a tweet about Minne being a mean girl, and I think her actions towards Lisa. And Minne was like, "Look, Lisa was quite mean to me and was throwing jabs at me at the dinner table." So that was she was basically chalking it up to the fact that throwing the water was a final blow up, because she was like, "I've had it with you, Lisa. You've been coming for me the whole night." And she said, "I am not apologetic." Look, guys, that's a hard one, because we didn't get to see the things she's saying that Lisa did and said. All we got to see was her standing up, towering over Lisa and splashing the water on her, which was not a good look for Minne. And that's where the fans kind of turned on her and said she's a mean girl. And this is where things stand for Minne. And the fact that she cannot even apologize for that, I don't know. Maybe she thought the other apology to age shaming and body shaming would suffice. But then they got to talking about, I think at some point there was a situation where Minne was called out for something, and then she turns around, Zena turns around and basically, Minne turns around and basically says that Zena was also age shaming, and by saying that Dr. C, she's aging, Zena herself is aging like wine, and Dr. C is aging like milk. Now look, this is where I'm gonna call out Zena. She did not own up to anything. In fact, there was another thing she also didn't own up to. It was the Botox with Farah. She said, Farah is being a bodybuilder and doing the Botox, and that's what I meant. And even this one, she's saying it was a figure of speech. I was not age shaming. Okay, I guess, but it was still not in good taste. And she didn't offer up an apology. Either way, okay, Zena, I guess you're still not feeling Dr. C so much. Enter Charles, Minne's hubby, with his Maybach. We see, like, outside the studio in the Maybach. And then, yeah, he's welcomed onto the set by the host. And this is where the crux of it all was. Because, baby, I feel like this episode exposed Charles and Minne a lot. And we'll just get into it. We'll start off with the house drama now. According to Zena on the set, she came and she had receipts, which she didn't really pull up, but she had receipts talking about the fact that the home that they were building, that they showed on the set, on the show, is not theirs, and it's owned by someone else, and it's not theirs. And she was standing her ground by that, and of course, Minne is like, what? No, we're calling the guy we bought it from. Call him. So they do. Now, this is the kicker. This guy didn't seem to know who he was talking to. I mean, when you're on a speakerphone, you don't know people's voices. You know that there was Zena there, you know that there was Minne there, and you know that there was Charles. So there was that. But what caught my ear, and I was really keen, and I rewound that part severally. When Minne asked him, who did you sell it to? Who did you sell it to? He said, I am selling it, then I am not selling. He said something about I am selling, and then I am not selling it. So it's like, then he asked, who am I speaking to? And then he said, Minne. Oh, it's you. Then he got his story straight based on who he was talking to. Guys. That set off bells in my head, and I was like, the fraudness that's going on here. And look, if you ask me, there seems to be a lot around this home and house and all that situation. But if I get my hands on those receipts, guys, please make sure you follow my Instagram, my TikTok, because I am going to post them on there, okay? And I have some receipts, but I'm waiting to gather everything before I put it all out. Hopefully I get my hands on everything, okay? Yeah, so there was a lot of holes in that conversation with that man on the phone. The owner who they bought it from. They claim to have paid off in full, and they bought it as a structure, but nevertheless, I don't know what's really good. Okay, it seemed a lot. It seemed a lot. Yes, Zena's receipts, and I don't know, maybe there was a sensitiveness of showing them because of legal issues, but she says the documents she was given were to do a search for valuation, meaning that the house was up for sale. Meaning that if it's up for sale, it's not owned by Minne and Charles, because the original person, the owner who's selling it, is the owner. Get it? Follow me? I know it's a lot to follow, but that's what it sounded like. Sidebar. There were these side conversations happening. I don't know if you caught them, between Minne and her husband while other people are arguing, and between Zena and Farah while other people are going at it. Production. This is where I will call you out. Those conversations, those are the ones where we need the subtitles. We needed to hear a glimpse of what those, because those are the key to everything, okay? So next time, do better. Please have subtitles on the side convos that are happening, because that's what they do on the international franchises. If someone is having like a side convo or making a comment on something, they will put the words there. Your mics need to be on all the time, okay? At this point, we see Dr. C also jumping in, and Dr. C was really defending Minne. Like, she was Minne's soldier to the end. I mean, I don't know. This particular episode didn't really pan out well for Minne, but Dr. C was riding for her to the end. I mean, she kept chiming in, when Zena and Minne were going at it, and Zena like, shut up, I'm not talking to you, and Dr. C is like, I am talking to you, and the reason I'm so upset, and she kept also chiming in. But anyway, let's talk about this whole PI situation. Look, Raja didn't show up. And guys, I have tea on why she didn't show up. Make sure you follow me on my Instagram and my TikTok, because I'm gonna be posting that tea this weekend. Anyway, at the end of the day, Reja's name kept popping up, and I think it was rather convenient only because she wasn't there. One main theme that they kept alluding to is the fact that Reja is a liar. Now, she wasn't there to defend herself, unfortunately, but this PI situation, then I was like, tell me, where did you hear this? And Dr. C says Reja told her that the house she was, okay, this is what I gathered, that she was told that Dr. C is trying to get a house to show it as her property on the show. But Dr. C says like she was staying in an Airbnb because when they started filming, they were in between homes, from their old home to their new home. Okay, I don't know, maybe the new home had a tenant and the old home, she was trying to get a tenant. I don't know the intricacies of the whole thing, but it just sounded like a lot. But at the end of the day, then I was like, I know nothing about that. I did not put a PI out on you. I was just told what I was told, and this is what I was told, is that you were looking to put up to stage a house to show it your house on the show, and it wasn't the house that we came to visit when they went for the tree planting. She said, she made it clear it was not that home, and she said she was told, and she's like, I have nothing to do with that, and I'm just, whatever you're saying is fine, because I don't have anything to do with that. And I guess that was that, because Dr. C came with a box full of receipts, and I'm guessing she really didn't need to, because then I was like, I had no parts of that. I didn't say any of that. I didn't do any of that. Nothing to do with me. That kind of fell kind of flat on Dr. C, if you ask me. But Dr. C was like, I'm gonna speak and I'm gonna clarify. I bought the home for 35 million, my old home. I took a loan off on it. I paid off the loan. She had her whole thing ready, and she was gonna talk about it regardless. Yes, let's talk about the Maybach. Now, this Maybach was a point of contention. This Maybach has made sightings on several reality shows, including the upcoming Nairobi that is coming up, including the one on Netflix of the Bahatis. I mean, I guess just hiring this car is, people were alluding to the fact that it's not Minne's, but she says it's theirs. Her husband, Charles, was very clear. He actually clarified and said, I bought an S-Class. I revamped it with a Maybach kit. Guys, I don't know about cars, but it sounded like, because, okay, all I know is that the Maybach and the Mercedes-Benz are from the same family. So I guess that's why he did what he did. He said he's into cars and he's a mechanic by profession. He's like, I guess owns garages or whatever. He's a car enthusiast. And did that, and it was clarified. But then I was like, say the truth. You bought a refurbished S-Class. It wasn't a new one. Nah. Zena was gonna come with it. She stayed on them. She stayed on them entirely, and she was not gonna step off their necks, okay? So sorry guys, I had footage that I had recorded on Friday as part of this review, but for some reason it got deleted or it didn't save. I'm not sure. But anyways, let's close this out. I want to talk about the 120,000 shillings that Minne said she spent at Vera's divorce party. So Charles basically tells her he found a receipt on the dresser and asked her why she spent 120,000 on drinks, and she was like, oh, we were just having fun, we were just throwing I was throwing drinks, and but honestly that whole situation just has a lot of loopholes, only because when you have a receipt like that, doesn't it have like the vendor or the outlet name, even if it's an ETR? And he came, like, he was not even asking her, he was telling her that he knows that's what she's spending the money on. And yeah, it just seemed a bit fugazi, I don't know. And to be honest, it just feels like they were playing up that storyline to make it look like that's how much Minne spends on a night out with her girls. She blows her husband's money because he's rich, honey. Yeah, that's the impression that I got. But furthermore, one thing about Vera does not like to be made to look broke, honey. And that was a mistake Minne made, because if that clip was not aired, I don't think Vera would have had any issue with Minne. But because it made the cut and was on screen, it made Vera look really cheap, and she can't afford her lifestyle, she can't afford her party, she can't afford to pay for drinks. And the queen never likes to look broke, okay, honey? Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for this review. Next week we'll just wrap it up and talk about more on my thoughts on the host and just generally the whole reunion, because we'll be wrapping it up then. But yeah, until next time, guys, enjoy my review. Subscribe to my other social medias in the description box below, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.